Obviously, I brought you guys a shorter video this week on Sunday for obvious reasons, but I wanted to make sure I got a video, and I want to keep updating people as we get things in. I have to actually message Jason and let him know that Dominion is on his way to Northfield. Now, I think we're going to send Dominion back over to Ontario. I was going to say back to Ontario. Over to Ontario to train back down. He's about, I'm going to say, 4 weeks away. I don't know much about this horse, but obviously we know plenty about his brother right now. He's raced good the other day and is in a pretty good spot, I think, on Thursday evening. Now, I had done the video, hadn't got a chance to watch Greatest Ending and Texan Soprano race the other night, so I meant to bring you a video yesterday. I never got to it, but I am going to do it right now. Greatest Ending, anytime we have a horse race badly like that, we want to know what took place would be nice, but sometimes the most certain way to get to what took place is to rule out what didn't take place. His heart was good. He scoped good. We were certain at that point he had tied up, waited for the blood work to come back, and sure enough, this morning it did, and he had tied up. Now, not as bad as I thought he might have. I thought it was going to be a horrifically high number. It wasn't. It was around, I think, 3,000 or something, enough that would keep him out of next week's race. And with the high CK, we know that it took place in or around race day. So more than enough to cause the race that had took place, but also low enough that we can get it under control. I think it'll only cost him maybe a week, which if you had asked me looking at his race, knowing his history, I probably would have said he'd be off 2 or 3 weeks. So at least we'll be able to get him back in sooner than I thought. So I guess the takeaways were he didn't bleed. His feet weren't sore. He was pacing good. Obviously, just couldn't hack it as we needed him to Sunday night with his muscle count the way it was. He's going to be a bugger. This isn't the last time we've seen this rear its head. We're going to have to push through. And as I said to our clients, my partners, I believe a lot of this was my fault. I advocated for getting him to I was going to say professional. I think all our blacksmiths are professionals, but somebody who really understands the inner workings of the hoof and really is a specialist, so to speak. And we had got the horse down to Eric and got him shod, got his feet cleaned up good. Everything was great in that regard, but I think the shipping involved with getting him to the specialist and back to Northfield is what predicated this tie up, and I have to blame myself for that, so I apologize. Texan Soprano off almost a month. Yes, we trained him up. I thought he trained well, but now you have a 3-year-old moving out of stakes competition into the open trot. That market is not an easy one to swim right into, especially when you're coming off 4-week layoff. So we're going to look. I want to get him in the non-winners of 10. Can he get in the non-winners of 10? I don't know. We'll see how that plays out this week. Again, we're going to look to race him. The one takeaway from his race is his feet are sore. And we can tell this in a number of ways. One, the testers on his feet, they bother him. His coffin joints look a little bit inflamed, which would obviously lead me to believe that there was some undue added pressure on his feet that we maybe have to mitigate. His back was really tight. Up over his hindquarters was really tight, which means he was loading weight. So everything points to his front feet. So I talked to Jason, and I left it up to him and Enos, the blacksmith. Do we go to a flip-flop this time of year with a horse that's never worn them, or at least didn't wear them when we got him? Or do we go with that circuit plate? Jason was more leaning towards the circuit plate, and I was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. The only one that can really tell us is the horse. You put the circuit plates on him, he's still not super comfortable. Then obviously you're going to pivot and move him to a flip-flop shoe. So it's going to have to be a coin flip his next start. I believe 2 things. 1, he's going to be tighter. 2, I'd like to get him in and onwards of 10, if at all possible. And 3, if this shoeing change does not work, we can move to a flip-flop. His feet aren't terribly, terribly sore. This is something we should and can manage. It's just a matter of how we do that. And you may get similar results from both shoes. It's not to say one's right and one isn't. One will work and one won't. It's just which one maybe works better. And I think we'll start with the circuit plate. I think there's no reason not to. I'm certainly not against going to a circuit plate with this guy. As I said to Jason, if that's what you and Enos feel, then that's where we should go. So that's what we're going to do. Texan Soprano, I'd like to find that non-winners at 10, if we could, with him. 2, he's going to be tighter, and 3, he's going to be better because we're going to be addressing his feet in a much more aggressive way this week. So those were the 2 takeaways from 2 one very flat and one really awful looking race. No long-term issues that I can see with either one of these horses. Both of these things should be able to be nipped in the bud. Now we moved on to Monday. It was nice to see All Gas No Brakes win again. I have to believe that this is his class, and I have to believe once that he sheds that allowance, that 4-year-old allowance heading into his 5-year-old season, and is now in that class, is an unprotected with allowance horse, will likely lose All Gas No Brakes his first start in January, I would think, especially coming in the way he has been a fantastic horse for us. And not to say that, I can't say that we have horses to replace him because he's a true competitor in that class, but we do have horses that fit that class that can probably do some damage. So as he moves on, we can immediately move another horse in there. We have a number of horses that kind of fit the bill. I have one that's on the top of my mind that I think will fit in there quickly and easily. But we'll see how everything plays out over the next 2 weeks. But I suspect All Gas No Brakes might be in jeopardy of moving Burns come the first part of January. Carter Michael Dio raced good. He got a little bit of a brotherly shove in the last turn. It looks like he was advancing, and Dougie kind of came out underneath him, and he was 3 wide for a little bit, and then again attacking down the lane. I thought he raced well. It's going to take some time to get him back to that top level, especially since he maybe only tasted it a couple of times, getting up to that 52, 53 level. This is a horse with the speed to do that, and as he progresses ever so slightly, those like that hind ankle where he had that fracture in the sesamoid, that will dissipate. He'll become very strong on that. He has to be loading a little weight as he gets to that, as he moves through that process. So I think it's fine to keep him around that 55, 56, 57 mark throughout the first part of the winter. I think it will do him a lot of good in the long run as he starts to settle down. Keep in mind, and it's very easy to forget this, he is a baby. He's 3, right? Not a lot of starts under his belt. Does have a fracture that he's working his way through rehabbing, I guess, is the best way to put it. Rehabbing as he races. Doesn't seem to be on a line or at a gear. He made that one break, but James had alluded to the fact, and Dominic did as well, that it was mostly the track's fault, he thought, if not all. And I have to believe they're right. The horse raced good the other night, so happy to see him doing well. White Tiger, once in a while, he'll make a break there, right? I know Sylvain come off and said, I didn't. So when we wear a gating pole on the inside of a horse, it's for the turns. And the reason you have a gating pole instead of a strap, if you're a horse person out there, you know why. The strap stays very stationary and very tight. I guess from the bullet back to the cross piece of the bike, and you can move it closer to the horse or move it away from the horse, but it stays very stationary. A gating pole floats around a little bit, and you'll see them bounce a little bit. Now it's up to you, the driver, to move that pole against the horse's rump as it gets to the turn to help steady and stabilize them. But again, the reason it's floating is because when you come out of the turn, you move that gating pole over, you just let it fall out of the way so the horse can now switch its lead, so to speak, and square itself away in the straightaway. Sylvain believed that he didn't move that pole over, he let the horse, he kind of kept him shoved over to the outer part of the sulky, and as he came out of the turn, he made a break. Now, am I apt to believe a 7-year-old made a break in 3 different places in the racetrack because of the gating poles? That's a tough sell for me. But having said that, he has been prone to making breaks in the past. There was no talk or inference of the horse being sick or lame or sore in any way. So if that's what Sylvain and Dominic believes that happened, okay, I'll give you that wiggle room. We'll call it that. But I'd be very interested to see how he finishes out his 2024 or 2023. I know a lot of people, and I forgot all about it until this morning when I looked it up, hovering at $97,000 made this year. He was $94,000 last year. He didn't get a chance to get to that 6-figure mark again, and he's only got one more start to do it. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out for White Tiger next week. But the good news was there was no lameness or soreness of any kind that I was told or talked about. Locatelli, again, you can't be in a different postal code coming out of the last turn, expect Locatelli to run everybody down. When he gets shoved out of that 6-hole and ended up 7th, that was a real problem because he's now 3rd over instead of 2nd over. The cover was stalling badly. Travis had to get out in front of us. That's where we would have been and could have got underway a little bit earlier. But unfortunately, just the way the race worked out, just that little bit at the start really cost us a lot. And again, I'd like to see Locatelli maybe draw a 6, 7, 8, where in the past he's usually got out of the wings well. This guy looked on the track. I saw his body language. He looked good on the track, but I want to see that translate to the race. And we'll see. We'll see how that progresses, because there's lots of places for a horse. Like, I know a lot of people message me, not a lot of people, but the odd person will message me saying, what's going on with Locatelli, and what are we going to do to get him fixed? He's a horse. They're not always awesome, and sometimes when you give them time off and bring them back, it takes a while for them to get going. Joe, one of our partners, had messaged me, say, I guess Tiger done now for a little while. No, Tiger's not done for a little while. Tiger will tell, these aren't 2-year-olds and they aren't 3-year-olds. They'll let us know when maybe it's time to take a little bit of a break. But when I know that White Tiger does his best work from September to May, you're probably not going to see White Tiger get a rest until next May. I wouldn't think, unless he himself tells us, hey, it's time for a little break. Then, of course, we'll rest the horse. But we have no scheduled break anytime between here and May for White Tiger. And at that point, then we can discuss it. But I just don't think when a horse does his very, very best work in the winter, we should be talking about resting him unless he's the one sending the email, so to speak. So Locatelli, a little flat. I'd like to see him a little better. I thought in the post-parade he looked sharp. He was on his toes, not on the gate, didn't get away as well from the inside. I really would like to see him leave 6, 7, and 8 and come charging off the car and fight and work for it. And then after a couple of starts of him doing that, then we can make a decision. Okay, we're going to move this guy to Pennsylvania or Ohio or anywhere, or we're going to leave him there. I'm indifferent to it right now. I don't have a path forward or a plan for Locatelli. I do know that when Looks Like Money does make his way back, we're not going to be racing. We're not going to be playing musical horses in the Open if Locatelli happens to get back up in there. So we'll have horses going over to Harry and coming back and moving around, whether it be Dominic or Harry. At the end of the day, we want to have the right horses in Ontario to move around freely without being encroached on, so to speak, by by some of our own stable horses. So I think that will be a tricky thing to do all winter. But again, right now Locatelli is not an Open horse, so we'll see if he can work his way back into the Open. I don't think there's any reason he can't. He's gone through these phases before where he gets a little dull, gets a little flat. But it looked, like I said, to me, his body language the other night looked to me like he was coming back around. So we'll see how that plays out. That was your Sunday, your Monday. Nothing going on Tuesday night for us at the stable. Tomorrow is Wednesday, although I fly in late. I'm going to be watching the races very, very closely. We got Warwieri, got the 8 hole, so we're going to be a little conservative with him, I'm sure, on Wednesday. Lindy's Landing looking to bounce back from a troubled trip last week. What a mission, sitting on the fence. He's going to be, he's very close to finding his way to the winner's circle, I think. And Commando Tom, again, probably one of the most watched horses on Wednesday night from my point of view, because I thought, 1, Jason Merriman drove the horse fantastic the other day. 2, he looked like he's got something to offer there, this horse. So I think he's sitting on a good mile also. And then our girl, Halakai the third, is also racing. Little bit flat last week. I'm interested to see how she bounces back. She's been a pretty nice little filly for us, a nice pickup. So we'll see how she does on Wednesday night. Thursday, I'm back in action, making my way back over to Ohio and then over to the Meadows. Thankfully, they got me in late. We have Enzo Aguayo and Crantini are my 2 first mounts after vacation. We'll see how they do. Friday, we have Patrick DePron and Stay Close, and then right after Stay Close's race, Amy and I and the kids go back to Ontario. On the Friday, my parents are going to be flying back in and staying at our place, and then again, the McDonald family is going to be together for Christmas. It should be a lot of fun. As I said, a little weird because this is my favorite time of year, and I'm used to the snow and the ho, 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 and the Christmas stuff, and a little bit of break in between. I don't know how to take it. It's been great. It's been a wonderful time hanging out with my brothers and everybody that's down here. It's been a tremendous time, and it feels nice. Feels nice to get away. You just get, we talk about having the horses screwed in tight. Well, you guys know how I am. I'm screwed in tight. I'm screwed in tight all the time, and it's tough to separate, take yourself away from it. But it's nice just to spend some time away, just to relax a little bit with some friends and family, and that has been exactly what I've tried my best to do here. So nice to give you guys an update, my perspective on what took place and what is taking place over the next week or over the last week. It was wonderful to see, to hear Jason Tuckman get dumped on in Cleveland last night. So not a lot training today, or the babies didn't even go out today. We haven't been in a big hurry to get corks on any of them just yet, so they would have needed them today. So they get a day off, but it looks like it's going to warm up again. So kind of weird weather, right? But it is what it is. I hope you guys are experiencing some nice weather wherever you might be, because it's been a great week here, and it'll be nice. It'll be nice, though, to get back. I want to get back into soak up the last little bit of Christmas before it actually gets here, and that should be a lot of fun. So with that, I'll let you go. I hope you're having a great week. I hope you had a wonderful night. I will talk to you all very soon. Take care.